Hi, Christy. Thank you for coming in.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
I'm all right.
Yeah,
Stressed.
yeah. So, would you mind telling me a little bit about what brought you in here today?
Yeah, I've just been feeling really overwhelmed and stressed and like, how am I gonna get through another day? Um, yeah.
Would you be able to tell me a little bit more about what the stress means to you and, some a little bit about like what has been happening in your life that makes you kind of feel this way?
Yeah, so I decided to go back to school for my graduate's degree a little over a year ago. So I
Mhm.
have about 6 to 7 months left. So kind of like on the home stretch, but it's a lot. And last year when I took on going back to school, it was I'd been out of school for 10 years. And I also took on a new position at work and then a new club. Um, I work in a school, so I took on student council, which is a very busy club. And then this year in August, September, end of August, September, when we went back for the school year, I also started interning. So it's been a lot. I feel like I put a lot on my plate. And I feel there was a while at the beginning where I felt like I was not present at home. And I have two young kids, and that was really hurtful because I felt so distant from everybody. But I had to get in my hours and, I had to do all this stuff. And September and October are very busy for student council
Yeah.
because we're planning welcome back and we're planning the homecoming and all that. So things have slowed down a little bit, but it's still a lot. And now it's like financially, like we just feel like we're not in a good spot. And I wish I could take on another job. And, like where are we going to find time to do that? And it's just, yeah. So when I'm overwhelmed, I get stress headaches. I'm short-tempered and short patience. And I tend to take that out to those in my house. Like it's kind of like I come home and I melt. Um, and everyone on the outside gets the best of me, which isn't fair at home.
Yeah.
So it's hard.
Yeah. So you described a couple things, with what you just said. Um, First, I want to congratulate you before I get into that. Like, good job going back to school. It takes a lot. It's a lot of like time and effort to really like get yourself back into a mindset of school. So
Mhm.
I just want to congratulate you. And you're almost there. You said you're like getting into the home stretch. So you really are. You're almost there. But so from what I heard, you had a lot going on. You have a lot on your plate. You kind of feel like maybe things have just kept piling up and you've kind of like overfilled your plate. Would that be a correct like description of what you said?
Yeah, I am also supposed to be launching a new program at school, the school paid for me to be trained, so I can't really pass it on. But there is two of us, and I did ask the other person if she could lead it a little bit more, although it is a mental health thing, and I am the mental health counselor for the school.
Yeah.
But she definitely agreed and took that on, and but we're kind of at a standstill, so I feel like I have to still push her along. But
Yeah. That could be tough. Having to like work with somebody else in something that like you're the one that was like trained in, and it can kind of almost feel like you have another task added on to you when you have to help somebody else as well on top of all of the duties that you're doing for it. So it's understandable how it can be a lot. You've kind of identified a couple of feelings. So you've said that you feel like overwhelmed, you get short tempered, you kind of like have a lower patience level, and you feel like you take that out on people around you. Um, would that be correct on what you were saying?
Yep. Yeah.
So is that how you would describe when you feel stressed? Is that how you like feel stress, or um would you
Yeah.
say that stress is something else for you?
I would say that's it. And just
Mhm.
like constant worry, or like I always have a to-do list in my head and things are all just piled on, and
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah. It sounds very overwhelming, and I commend you greatly for doing all of this at one time. But if you don't mind, I'd like to do a little like activity. It's kind of gets you to like reflect and go back to the past. Um, and it's okay if you can't think of anything right off the top of your head. I'll give you a minute. But if you could you look back onto a time where you might have felt the same way, like overwhelmed and short-tempered or low patience? Like, do you think you'd be able to look back and find your earliest memory of kind of feeling like this?
Um, I feel like I'm just always in a constant state of stress. I'm always taking
Yeah.
on more than I can. I think through the years it's become more since having my kids. Um,
Yeah.
when I think about a hard time and stress, I think about my old job. I know that I definitely had stress prior.
Mhm.
Um, I just feel like that's how I function. Um, but what stands out is my old job. So I was
Okay.
there for 7 years and I left it two 2.5 years ago.
Okay. Yeah. Would you, so that's fine if it's not as early as it can be. That's still, a pretty decent amount of time to reflect back on. Um, so I'm going to ask you if you can kind of tell me, like, in that situation in your job, like what were you doing? What was happening? Like, who was present in your life at that time? Just kind of give me a little bit of detail about the whole situation.
I worked for a place that was we dealt with a lot of trauma,
Mhm.
but yet like I always say it's a very stuffy environment, like where our offices were. It was very quiet. I mean, you could hear a pin drop. God forbid if you sneezed too loud or laughed. It just wasn't a very good environment to work in, for what we had to deal with and the roles that we were in. Um, and I always had a mindset of I always wanted to climb the ladder. And so I did that. I started the program there. And then I later on became supervisor. Excuse me. And through that, like through my time, I definitely was like burnt out, and becoming a supervisor kind of like refreshed me a little bit. And it was nice. Like I love having a team. I love supporting my team. But then I felt like I would constantly be defending my team. And I don't, it was just, it was hard. And so like during that time, I had my now husband, and I had in 2019 I had my son, and then I was had just had my daughter before I left there.
Okay. All right. So it sounds like the situation and like the environment that the workplace kind of brought on might have been a little like stress inducing. Would that be accurate?
Yeah.
So, you're saying that um, the whole environment kind of made you feel this way in the past. So, is there? I want to bring us back to like to the present now, to this how you're feeling right now currently. Um, do you feel like you're also feeling that same way? with with like your situation being extremely like overwhelming and like stressful?
Um, no, I feel like it's a little bit different because my job, like it was my job, I had to do it. Going to school was my choice. And I do feel that, as the years go on, more stress is always added, the stress of two kids and you know, more finances and more obligations and whatnot. So I do feel like I have more control of my stress, I think, now than I did
Oh,
before. And I am more self-aware. And I have done more to help with it. So I do think it's
yeah.
better this time. And I know
All right.
like there is an end to this. So that's helpful.
That's a great way to look, and it's great like into the future, and you can kind of see the end of the tunnel in a way because you've said that you're so close to being done and finished with it, and um yeah, like the pressure that you're feeling and the stress, it is only temporary for this particular situation. um so it's great that you aren't like seeing a connection between the past and that you're able to recognize currently that um like this what you're feeling is kind of just it comes with what you're going through and the whole experience of it. So I want to ask, how are you taking care of yourself? You kind of mentioned that there are some things that you do to try to help with it. Could you elaborate on some of those things that you're doing for yourself?
Um, like this past weekend, I went out of town and hung out with my sister-in-law when I was actually going to my cousin's baby shower. So I spent time away, had like a little girls' weekend. My husband's very supportive of me taking those breaks.
Great.
And like I'll get out here and there. I do like to socialize. A lot of times I'm so tired or got so much going on that I can't, but I do try to do that. My work environment is a lot different, so there are a lot more laughs, less stress. So that in itself is good. And when my day is heavy, like I can lean on my coworkers or I can take a step back, depending on the situation. So um I am able to have self-care while at work, a breather or reach out for support a lot easier than I was in the past due to the environment being different.
Yeah. Those are all really great tools to have and things to be able to do for yourself to make sure that you're taking care of like your body and your needs. And do you feel like it taking time for yourself to be with friends and to kind of do something for you and the support that you're getting from your husband and your friends, do you feel like that helps with like managing the way that you're feeling sometimes, or do you feel like maybe it might add to your stress?
I think it helps. Sometimes if there's an event going on, like my cousin's shower, I might feel like, oh my God, how am I supposed to manage this? I got so much due for school and I have this and that
Yeah.
going on. But ultimately, like through the program, even though it's virtual, like I have made some decent friends I've had classes with all along, and like we'll partner up or
Hmm.
we'll keep each other on track, or I can,
Yeah.
call them and be like, can you update me on this project that's due or something? So that's really been super helpful. And it makes me feel that I am able to take those breaks when I need because I do have the support of my peers in school. Um, to do that. And my job is very supportive of my education, and it's only benefiting me there. So I can, like, on my downtime, I can, get caught up on work and they support that.
Yeah. So it sounds like you really have a great support system, and I think this session was great for helping you to to reflect on everything that you have in your life currently to help support you through all these feelings that you're having around like school and around your job and your life. So I it takes a lot to be able to recognize and acknowledge all of that support that you have, and you did that really well in this session. So um, I kudos to you for that.
Thank you.
So if I think this is a really good place to stop, if you're comfortable with that, and we can set up a time to meet next week.
Yeah, that'd be good.
All right. So then I will see you next week.
All right. Thank you.